Hi everybody, my name is Michaela Davis and this is my critical assignment for the Contemporary Health Issue presentation. I will warn you that I have already tried to do this presentation about 3 times, and every time it cuts me off right at 15 minutes. So I'm going to make it a little bit snappy because I was trying to go over and it wouldn't let me. So to get started, the contemporary health issue that I chose is depression. I used to suffer with depression. I don't anymore. And so I thought this would be a perfect health issue to go over. So you're probably wondering, what is the definition of depression? Well, Edward Bring gave a perfect definition of it. It basically says that depression is the emotional expression of a state of ego helplessness to live up to a certain strongly maintained narcissistic aspirations and ego powerlessness. Basically saying that, when somebody has depression, that they don't want to do anything, and their helplessness, and they do not want anybody's help, and they just want to be by themselves, basically. So there are 3 different types of depression. The persistent depressive disorder, which is when somebody has depression for a very long time but does not need help or get help. Major depressive disorder is when somebody has had depression for a very long time but does get help and needs help. Lastly, adjustment disorder with depressive mood is when somebody has depression but it is fixable and they can cure it. Okay, next is the current events. So what causes depression nowadays in this world? So I gave you 2 examples, but I gave you some examples under those examples. So for example, the first one is the world is changing constantly. Politics, pandemic, COVID-19, new work, new school, hard work, etc. The world goes on and on and on and on without us knowing what's going to happen next. And people can get depressed because of that reason. Next is life changes. The passing of a loved one, somebody could get really depressed because their grandma passed away, or their mom passed away, or their dad passed away, or their friend passed away, anything like that. Somebody can get very depressed because of that. There's more stressful things in life, than politics, pandemic, and work and school, and somebody passing away. Everybody's life is different, and they're going to be stressed out by what is going on in their life, and ours looks different than that. Alright, so there are some important changes that are made in the body. So what are those when somebody is depressed? So physical changes, they're not going to want to eat healthy. They're not going to want to sleep healthy. So you might see a bit of weight gain or weight loss. Mental changes, they don't want to be social. They don't, people with depression don't want to talk to somebody every day, so the cognitive abilities are going to change. But what really interested me the most is Wayne Caton did a study on people with underlying diseases such as diabetes, cancer, RA, arthritis, and people who have had major surgeries such as knee replacement or hip replacement, shoulder replacement, stuff like that. He did a study on people like that with underlying diseases to see if after they're diagnosed with whatever underlying disease they have or the surgery, if their depression levels rose or lessened. And it turns out that they rose. So underlying diseases can cause depression. So we know what causes depression in people. So now how does it affect somebody with depression? So according to Katharina Kerensky in 2012, she says that research examining cognitive aspects of depression not only enhances our understanding of this common and costly disorder, but also has implications for the treatment of this depression and for future investigations of the biological foundations of this disorder. So basically, she researched the cognitive aspects of having depression, and it is a very costly disorder and a commonly disorder, like she says, and it can affect your cognitive abilities very much. And so also your social changes, that people, like I said in the last slide, people don't want to be talking to each other, people don't want to be going out and about with their friends and stuff like that. So it changes their social abilities and can affect them in the long run. Next is physical functions. People with depression can often feel aches or pains, weight gain or loss. They could lose weight as well from not eating, or they could eat a lot and gain weight. Also the lack of sleep and oversleep. I know a lot of people who sleep all day because they're depressed. They don't want to get up, shower, brush their teeth, nothing like that. So they oversleep and don't eat. Alright, the next slide is how can we prevent depression from entering our bodies. So I believe in positive thinking. To me, positive thinking gets me through the day and gets a lot of people through, a lot of things that they're going through that are stressful and depressive in their life. Next is associating with the right people. If somebody spends time with somebody who is not good and does not want to succeed in their life, that person is not going to be good and succeed in their life. It's who you associate yourself with. So if you hang out with successful people and people who want to better their life and stuff like that, that will help your depressive state tremendously. Next one is hobbies. Having a hobby like exercising, woodworking, auto repairs, etc., anything you can think of will help your depression go away, or to prevent depression, because that your mind is keeping itself busy. So according to F.B. Schrock, he did a study on how exercising can be effective for people with depression. And it says here, add-on exercise is effective treatment for severely depressed inpatients, improving their depressive symptoms, because their mind is not on being depressed and what they're depressed about. So next is public health with depression. How can depression affect public health nowadays? So I'm just going to say it. Depression is overwhelming. Very overpowering, very overwhelming. There's no clue about it. Depression is overpowering, and it could take over people's lives if they don't get help. I would reach out for some friends for therapy. If somebody has depression and they don't want to go see somebody like professionally, I would reach out to your friends and tell them exactly what you're thinking, exactly what is going on in that little mind of yours, and help them through it. Next is the world change. So like I said in a previous slide earlier, is that the culture changes, the world changes. We have pandemics, we didn't even know it was coming. That can cause depression as well for the whole public. Now, according to Houston, he says that Turkey, the country Turkey, has one of the most highest death rates in the world due to COVID pandemic. And it says that the deaths weren't caused by the COVID disease. It was caused by the pandemic. By the anxiety and depression that people had because of the pandemic of COVID-19. So that just shows right there, it's evidence that people do have depression because of pandemics and COVID-19. Alright, next is resources. How can we make this change? Who can we talk to make this change? I believe that if you talk to somebody, like I said in the previous one, that will help you a lot. Get everything off your chest. Gain positivity. Think positive of everything you do. Think about all the positive things in somebody's life, It's better to think positive than to be negative all the time. Some people have depression so bad, that they need some medication to ease that out, and I would suggest to go to the doctor first before you take any kind of medicine. But some people do need medicine to get their depressive states down. I believe that the world can help people with depression by having more help for those who are depressed. We see nowadays a lot of people hurting themselves because they're depressed, and we need to change that, and we need to have more help for people who are depressed. So according to Robert J. DeBreeze, he says that studies have shown cognitive therapy as an effectuous and antidepressant medication as treating depression, and it seems to reduce the risk to replace the depression. So basically this is saying that study shows that therapy over medication can work better than medication to help depression. Lastly is a conclusion. Today we have gone over what depression is, the current events that depression has, the important changes that depression makes, how depression affects people, how we can prevent depression, and the resources to change depression in the future. So just like this little picture says right here, every accomplishment starts with the decision to try. This goes along with the depression because everybody needs to try, and everybody needs to feel wanted and feel blessed. So I hope that this concluded my presentation, and I just hope you liked it. Here's my bibliography. I have six citations. Thank you. Bye.